All right, folks, week 4 is here, and what a great weekend of American sports it is. We have the Ryder Cup all day tomorrow. We have all sorts of ranked college football matchups, and then on Sunday we get football at 8:30 in the morning, noon, 3:30, and 7:30 at night. It is going to be jam-packed with NFL all day on Sunday, and just such a great weekend of football. And week 4 is here, and it's hard to believe that after this weekend we're going to be almost a quarter of the way through the season. But I want to start this week with the Lions-Ravens game on Monday night. I thought that the Lions win in Baltimore was the most impressive win I've seen so far this year, especially how the Lions looked week 1 against the Packers. I was completely out on this team, and they come out and they rush for over 200 yards rushing at Baltimore, and they get a huge win in Baltimore, and it was just incredible to watch. And on the Ravens side of things, I think they have got to figure out a lot of things on defense here. Right now, they are averaging giving up over 140 yards rushing per game, and that is not going to win a lot of games in the NFL. They go to Kansas City this weekend, and they're very fortunate because Kansas City is one of the worst rushing teams in the entire league, but that's a huge matchup there this Sunday in Kansas City. So there are really 3 games that I'm really excited about this weekend. Number 1, I mentioned it at the top. We got the Ravens and the Chiefs in Kansas City. One of these 2 teams is going to go to 1-3, and I think we can explain the Chiefs' struggles. Rashid Rice has been suspended. He comes back week 6. Xavier Worthy has been out since the third play of the game in the third play of the season, and he's coming back this weekend. So I think they're going to start to pick it up. But on the Ravens side, I think it's a little more difficult to explain what's going on. Their defense has been really atrocious here so far this year. It's starting with week 1 at Buffalo, and then this weekend against the Lions. Like I said, they're giving up over 140 yards rushing per game, and I think they have a lot of things to figure out on defense. I do think they'll get a win this weekend in Kansas City. They're a 2.5 point favorite on the road, and I expect them to win, to go to 2-2 and drop the Chiefs to 1-3. But that's the first game this weekend of importance. The second one, the Bucs at home versus the Eagles, 2 3-0 teams. And for the Bucs, if they can find a way to win this game, I think they have a track to get the 1 seed in the NFC. They'll have a win on the road against the Eagles, the other great team in the NFC. The Packers had a tough loss against the Browns last week, so they'll be in really good shape here if they can find a way to win this game. And this is a 3-0 team that is out without their best offensive lineman, Tristan Wirfs, who's coming back later this season. Now, the Bucs are going to be without Mike Evans, which I think is a huge loss, so I expect the Eagles to win, and I'll get to that in my picks here in a minute. And then the final one is the Colts on the road versus the Rams. The Colts, of course, are 3-0, averaging 34 points a game, but this is going to be by far the toughest defense that they've played all season. Jonathan Taylor's been excellent, but the defensive line for the Rams is phenomenal. You got Jared Verse, you got Fisk, and they're going to be tough to run the ball against. So that'll be really interesting to see how they fare in their first real challenge of the game. So let's get to my picks. I was 1-2-1 last week, so we are getting closer to 500, and I think we're going to have a huge week this week. So I'm going to give you my 5 picks for this week. Number 1, I'm going to take the Steelers plus 2.5 in Ireland versus the Vikings. So this is a neutral field game, Vikings versus Steelers in Ireland. And I don't see why Carson Wentz is a 2.5 point favor over anyone. They had a huge win last week against a pretty terrible team, but I think the Steelers are going to win this game outright. I think Carson Wentz is going to come back down to earth. The Steelers defense, I think, has been a little weaker than it's been in the past few years. Over the first few weeks of the season, I think they'll pick it up this weekend, and I'm going to take the Steelers plus 2.5 in Ireland versus the Vikings. Number 2, I'm going to take the Commanders plus 2.5 in Atlanta versus the Falcons. And after that 30-point beatdown versus Carolina last week, I have no idea why the Falcons would be favored over anyone in the NFL right now. I actually had to look at this line several times because I couldn't believe the Falcons were actually favored. And from a Commander standpoint, I really don't care if it is Marcus Mariota or if it's Jaden Daniels. I think the Commanders are going to win this game straight up and cover the 2.5 on the road versus Atlanta. Number 3, I'm going to take the Eagles minus 3.5 versus the Bucs. And right now from the Bucs, they are 3-0, but Baker Mayfield has really had to save them in every game. And I think Baker Mayfield is a top 5 quarterback right now. He is playing incredible. He's had 3 last-minute drives in the first 3 games. No one in the NFL has ever done that. And they're relying heavily on him right now. And they're going to be without Mike Evans, so now they're going to be down to their rookie wide receiver, who's been phenomenal, but he's really their only option left until Mike Evans comes back. So and I really like what the Eagles did on offense in the second half. they started to get Smith going and A.J. Brown, and they were really good on offense in the second half, and they really didn't need to be the first 2.5 games of the season, but they really figured a lot of things out, and I think the Eagles are going to cover the 3 points versus the Bucs. Number 4, I'm going to take the 49ers -3 at home versus the Jags. And right now, I really don't like the looks of Trevor Lawrence. He looks kind of all sorts of messy right now. He seems like he misses wide open receivers all the time. He throws 2 hospital balls a game, and it seems like every game he's good for an interception. And I'm not really sure I care who's playing for quarterback for the 49ers, if it's Purdy or Mac Jones. Mac Jones is now 2-0 as a starter. I think the 49ers are going to win. I think they're going to win by a touchdown, and I'm going to take the 49ers -3 at home versus the Jags. And number 5, I'm going to take the Rams -3.5 at home versus the Colts. And this hurts me to say. The Colts have been phenomenal this year, but this is going to be by far their toughest test so far. On the road against a great defensive line and also probably the best quarterback they've faced this year. You know, you look at Jonathan Taylor. He has been phenomenal this year. I think he is a top 2 running back right now, but this is an outstanding defensive line they're going to go against. They really bottled up Saquon Barkley last week. He couldn't get anything going for the most part, and I think the Rams are going to win by a touchdown, and I'm going to take the Rams -3.5 at home. So that's how I see it. Can't wait for this weekend. We got a lot of golf, a lot of college football, and a lot of pro football. It's going to be phenomenal, and we'll talk to everyone Sunday night.